In a grand mansion, wealthy patriarch Chief Williams, frail with age, devises a cunning plan to uncover who truly loves him. Pretending to be terminally ill with only 6 months to live, he watches as his family, wife Agatha and children Frank, David, Cynthia, and Rose, reveal their true colors. While some chase his fortune, throwing lavish parties and selling his cherished assets, only one remains by his side, offering unwavering care. As greed and betrayal unravel the family, shocking secrets captured on hidden cameras expose their hearts. Will William's test of loyalty reshape his legacy forever? Dive into this gripping tale of deception, love, and redemption to find out. An elderly, wealthy man named Williams owned numerous properties, vehicles, lands, hotels, and a large corporation, but he was growing old and frail. One day, while sitting alone in his room, he gazed at a family portrait and wondered, who in this household truly loves me? Who will stand by me when I'm ill and helpless? Consequently, Williams summoned his trusted attorney, Mr. John, and his personal physician, Dr. Maxwell, to his mansion. He gathered them in his study and quietly confided, I want to feign a serious illness to discover which family members genuinely care for me and would look after me if I were dying. The lawyer, though taken aback, agreed, saying, That's a clever plan, sir, but you should safeguard some of your wealth. I'll set up a separate account and transfer half your assets to ensure pretenders don't get everything. Williams nodded in approval with a smile. The doctor also agreed, stating, I'll inform your family that you have cancer and only 6 months left to live, and I'll make it convincing. Thus, the scheme was set in motion. The following morning, Williams began coughing loudly, confined himself to his bed, and avoided going out. He ate sparingly and appeared extremely frail. His wife, Agatha, and their children, Frank, the eldest son, David, the second son, Cynthia, the first daughter, and Rose, the youngest daughter, grew concerned. We need to get the doctor, Cynthia exclaimed. Soon, Dr. Maxwell arrived and examined Williams in front of the entire family. With a somber expression, he announced, I'm sorry, but your father is gravely ill with cancer and may not survive beyond 6 months. The family gasped in shock. No, Rose wailed. Please, Daddy, don't leave me. Even Frank and David appeared stunned. Agatha clutched her chest and slowly sank into a chair. Initially, the family showed concern, bringing him meals, checking on him, and offering comforting words. However, within a week, their behavior shifted. Agatha stopped visiting his room, saying, I can't bear to see him in pain. It's too heartbreaking. Cynthia claimed she was too occupied to stay long. David mentioned work-related travel. Frank, the eldest, began focusing more on the family business. One day, Frank entered the study with documents and suggested, You should rest, Dad. Let me take over the company. Williams observed him silently and nodded, but inwardly, he was carefully noting their actions. Frank assumed control of the company, redecorating the office, hosting extravagant parties, and spending recklessly. He purchased a new car and took lavish vacations. Cynthia also withdrew funds to buy costly wigs and clothing. David squandered money on a woman he met online. Meanwhile, Williams lay in bed, pretending to grow weaker each day. Only his youngest daughter, Rose, remained by his side constantly, feeding him, tidying his room, singing to him, and even sleeping on the floor beside his bed. I'll never abandon you, Daddy. I'll stay with you, she wept one day. Clutching his hand one evening, Rose approached her mother, Agatha, and pleaded, Mom, let's take Daddy abroad for treatment. There might be hope. Agatha shook her head. No, it's too costly. If he dies there, we'll have wasted money. Rose wept again that night by her father's bedside, holding his hand and wiping his brow. Meanwhile, across the house, Frank hosted a grand party, boasting to his friends, Soon, all this will be mine. Unbeknownst to him, his father was still observing, listening, and maintaining his ruse. Each morning, Chief Williams' mansion was eerily silent. Upstairs, in his spacious room, the old man lay seemingly helpless on his plush bed, his face weary, his breathing slow, and his cough deep and dry, as if something within him was crumbling. His lips quivered as he whispered, "Rose, thank you, my daughter." Rose, his youngest, sat beside him, gently holding his hand. She smiled through her tears, saying, "I'm here for you, Daddy." She wiped his sweaty forehead with a warm cloth, helped him drink water, and fed him pap with a small spoon. When his coughing intensified, she gently rubbed his chest, weeping silently when he wasn't looking. Yet, unbeknownst to all but a few, Chief Williams was faking his condition, not truly dying, but testing who loved him genuinely and who merely awaited his death to claim his fortune. One afternoon, as Rose stepped out to rinse a towel, Chief Williams turned to the wall and murmured to himself, "Is this how my life ends? This family, for whom I sacrificed everything, doesn't visit me or care if I've eaten. Not even Agatha, my wife. I gave them my life, my toil, my legacy, and now they count my days. They don't even ask, 'How are you today, Daddy?'" A tear fell as he sighed softly. "Oh, God, what did I go wrong?" While the old man coughed upstairs, loud music blared downstairs. Frank, his eldest son, had turned a guest room into a party hub, drinking wine, laughing with friends, and making boisterous calls, acting as if he already owned the estate. He never once checked on his father. At the company, one morning, Frank strode into the office like a king, addressing the board. "Good morning. My father is gravely ill and won't return. I'm in charge now." Some employees clapped hesitantly, while others seemed uneasy. Mr. Deo, a veteran employee of 28 years, stood respectfully and said, "Chief is still alive. Shouldn't we wait for his instructions?" Frank slammed the table. "Are you questioning me in my father's company?" Miss Linda, another employee, added cautiously, "We just want the company to be secure. Perhaps a team could support you until Chief speaks." Frank turned to the HR manager. "Fire them all. I don't want to see them tomorrow." Security soon escorted them out. Mr. Deo shook his head. "You're firing me? I serve your father like a brother." "I don't care," Frank bellowed. "Get out." When David, the second son, heard about the firings, he rushed to the office and stormed into the boardroom. "What's wrong with you?" he yelled. "Why act like Dad's already gone?" Frank leaned back in the CEO's chair. "Get real, David. Dad has 6 months. I'm just planning ahead. You're destroying everything he built." David shouted, "You think you're better because you studied abroad?" Frank retorted. David stepped closer. "Stop this, or I'll stop you." Frank shoved him, and David punched back. Security intervened, pulling them apart. Later, Rose learned of the fight and was devastated. She gathered them in the living room, tears streaming down her face, and said, "Why are you fighting? Daddy's unwell, and you're bickering over his money and company when he needs our love. Hasn't he given us a good life? Hasn't he sacrificed enough? Why betray him now?" Frank looked down, and David remained silent. "If anything happens to him, God won't forgive us," she said, walking away in tears. That evening, as Rose fed her father, there was a knock. Mr. John, the lawyer, entered, sat down, and whispered, "Your sons fought today, and Frank fired your veteran staff. The company's at risk." Chief Williams gave a faint smile. "Let them reveal their true selves. I'm still observing." Then, loud voices echoed from downstairs. It was Agatha and Cynthia. "I want to sell that land," Cynthia demanded. "Why hold on to it when Dad's about to die?" Agatha replied coldly, "Wait until he's gone, then we'll sell." Chief Williams overheard, his heart racing, not from illness, but from the pain of realizing his wife and daughter cared more for his wealth than for him. That night, Rose brought a tray of warm pap. "Daddy, please eat," she whispered. Chief Williams looked at her with weary eyes and said softly, "Thank you, Rose. You're the only one who stayed." She sat beside him, crying silently. "I'd never forgive myself if anything happened to you, Daddy." He gently touched her hand. The next day, Frank held another company meeting. "I've got a bold plan," he announced. "We'll launch a luxury fashion line, clothing, bags, perfumes, big scale." A worker raised a hand. "Sir, we don't have the funds for that now." Frank laughed. "Then borrow the money." "Do it. It's still my father's company." When David heard about the risky venture, he was enraged and rushed home. He entered his father's room, where Rose held their father's hand. "Rose, I need a moment," he said. "No," she replied. "Say it here." David looked at their frail, silent father. "Dad, Frank's ruining everything." Chief Williams opened his tired eyes, glanced at David, then turned away silently, still pretending, still watching, still keeping his secret. Days passed, and Williams continued feigning weakness and illness, confined to his quiet room. Rose remained by his side, feeding him, cleaning him, and sharing stories. But outside, things worsened. One morning, David sat on the balcony, fuming. He just returned from the company, thinking Frank thinks he can seize everything and squander all Dad worked for. "I won't stand by." The next day, David visited Sunray Grand Hotel, one of his father's premier properties. The manager, Mr. Felix, was surprised. "Good afternoon, sir," he said, rising. "I'm here to say this hotel is for sale," David declared bluntly. "What?" Mr. Felix gasped. "With respect, this is one of your father's finest hotels. He cherished it. Please don't sell it. It means so much to him." David's expression hardened. "Are you questioning me on my father's property? Try stopping me, and you're fired." Mr. Felix lowered his head. "I'm sorry, sir," but he was troubled. After David left, he called Mr. John. "Sir, David plans to sell the hotel," he said quietly. "It's wrong. Chief's still alive." "Don't worry," Mr. John replied. "I'll take care of it." The next day, Mr. John sent trusted agents to discreetly purchase the hotel, posing as strangers. When David sold it, they secured the documents and gave them to Mr. John, who locked them in his safe for Chief Williams, knowing he was only pretending. David also sold a valuable plot of land his father had preserved for years. Mr. John repeated the process, using proxies to buy it and safeguard the documents. David thought he'd profited, unaware his father still owned both assets. 3 days later, Cynthia heard the news and stormed into the living room where David was watching TV. "David, you sold Dad's hotel and land? Are you insane?" she screamed. David turned, startled. "Don't yell at me, Cynthia. I'm not a kid, you fool." She slapped him hard. "That land was mine. Don't sell anything else." David slapped her back, and they began fighting, knocking over chairs and breaking vases. A maid ran to fetch Rose. "Miss Rose, come quick. Your brother and sister are fighting." Rose rushed in, seeing them shouting and grappling. "What's wrong with you two?" she cried. "Why fight over Dad's property when he's still alive?" David yelled. "Alive? He's practically a corpse, lying there daily." Tears filled Rose's eyes. "Dad worked so hard for us. Is this how you repay him? Fighting and selling everything? Stop it." Cynthia stormed off, hissing. David left angrily. 2.2 days later, Agatha entered Chief Williams' room, her face twisted with disgust. "This place reeks of death," she said sharply. "I can't breathe here. It smells like someone's already dead." Williams coughed softly and looked away. Agatha shook her head. "You're just sick, not dead. Clean up and air out this room. Do you think we'll all die because you're ill?" She clapped twice, shouting, "Driver! Security!" Rose ran in. "Mom, what's happening?" Agatha turned. "I can't stand this room. Your father moves to the guest room now. Even hospitals don't smell this bad. But this is Dad's room." Rose cried. "You can't." "Quiet," Agatha snapped. "I'm his wife. I decide what happens here." The driver and guards entered. "Carry him to the guest room," Agatha ordered. "No, don't touch my father," Rose shouted, blocking the bed. The guards hesitated but moved forward. William stayed silent, pretending weakness. As they gently lifted him, he looked around with sad eyes, his heart heavy with the pain his family caused, not illness. Weeks later, Chief Williams' once thriving company began to falter. Frank's reckless spending and poor decisions took a toll. Accounts were empty, profits plummeted, and loyal clients left. Staff grumbled, bills piled up, and suppliers demanded payment. Frank's new fashion line, launched with a huge billboard, flopped. Its clothes too costly, styles unpopular. They needed funds urgently. Frank sat in his office, sweating. "Where can I find money?" If the company fails, I'm done. Then a sinister idea struck. I'll sell the Sunray Grand Hotel, his father's pride, the city's most prestigious hotel, dubbed my Golden House. That evening, Frank called a family meeting in the sitting room. Chief Williams lay upstairs, coughing as usual. Frank stood with a grave expression. The company's in serious trouble. We must act fast, or we'll lose everything. I propose selling the Sunray Grand Hotel to fund the company. Before he finished, Cynthia leapt up. Which Sunray Grand Hotel? The one David sold. Silence fell. Frank turned sharply. What? Cynthia crossed her arms. Ask your brother. David stood slowly. Agatha's eyes widened. David, did you sell the hotel without telling me? Your mother? David snapped. Don't yell, Mom. Did you question Frank about the money he squandered on parties and his fashion fiasco? Frank grabbed David's shirt. You thief. You sold Dad's hotel and kept the cash. David pushed back. Don't touch me. I won't watch you waste Dad's legacy on women and reckless spending. They fought, toppling chairs and breaking glasses. Agatha screamed. Maids fled, and Cynthia yelled, You're both crazy, trying to kill each other. Rose ran in, crying, Why no peace in this house? Dad's sick upstairs, and you fight like beasts. She looked at them, tears streaming. Why treat Dad like he's dead? Why so heartless? Has money blinded you all? Silence fell, but no one spoke. That night, Mr. John entered Chief Williams' room quietly as Rose stepped out for hot water. He sat close and whispered, Sir, I have news. Williams opened his weary eyes, nodding slightly. David sold the Sunray Grand Hotel and a large land, but I prevented outsiders from buying them. My agent secured the documents, and they're safe. Williams blinked, heart heavy but grateful. Thank you, Mr. John added. Your children are tearing each other apart, sir. It's worsening, but I'll protect your legacy. Chief Williams closed his eyes, coughing faintly, thinking, Is this what I raised my family for? Fighting while I'm still alive. Frank wasn't finished. In the living room, he gripped David's shirt, face red with rage. Give me the hotel money for the company. David pulled away. For what? Another pointless party or a Paris trip for some girl? Not a penny. Frank lunged, but Rose stepped between them, shouting, Stop it. Dad's upstairs, sick, and you're fighting over money like animals. David shook his head, grabbed his keys, and stormed out. Frank turned to Agatha, trembling. Mom, he sold Dad's hotel and kept the money. Now what? Agatha waved calmly. Let him be. He's stubborn. If he won't share, sell another house or car. Frank snapped. Whose car? Not mine. Agatha replied. Sell your father's white SUV. Rose, returning with water, froze. Mom, what? That's Dad's favorite car, and you'd sell it while he's alive. Agatha stood, hissing. Don't you get it? We need funds to save the company. Rose shook her head. Then make Frank reinstate the workers he fired. They know the company's roots and can rebuild it. Frank scoffed. Never. They were rude and useless. Rose shouted. They were loyal to Dad, and if he trusted them, we should too. 2 days later, 3 cars arrived at the mansion. Chief Williams' extended family, including his brother, cousins, and a village elder, bearing fruits and drinks. We heard Chief's unwell, his brother said. We came to see him. Before they could advance, Agatha rushed out, wrapper flapping. Who invited you? What are you doing here? The elder said calmly, Madam, we're here to see our brother and pray for him. Agatha scoffed. Pray for who? You didn't visit when he was rich and healthy, but now he's sick. You're here like vultures? The cousins looked ashamed. We mean no harm. Agatha clapped. Go back to your village. No room for fake family love. Leave, or I'll call security. Can't we just greet him? They pleaded. Leave now, she shouted. A guard opened the gate wider, and the family left quietly. From upstairs, Rose watched, wiping tears. She turned to her silent father, whose heart broke, a single tear falling despite his stillness. That evening, tension lingered, but worse was coming. David stormed into the sitting room, furious. Mom, where's Mom? Agatha emerged from the kitchen with juice. Why so loud? David pointed. Why let Frank sell Dad's house and car? Agatha rolled her eyes. Must you yell? I approved it to save the company. Or do you want us ridiculed? David stepped closer. With Frank's management, selling 10 houses won't save it. Agatha frowned. Don't disrespect your elder brother. David raised his voice. Respect? He's not acting like one, Mom. He fired Dad's loyal workers, replaced them with clueless friends, and acts like Dad's gone, wasting money. Now you let him sell Dad's SUV and house. Agatha retorted. You were told to bring the hotel money, but you refused. David threw up his hands. Don't start. If you let Frank continue, he'll sell all Dad's properties, and the company will still fail. After a pause, he added, It's time to call Mr. John to read Dad's will. Let everyone get their share, so no one touches what's not theirs. Agatha nodded slowly. Fine. I'll call him tomorrow. By 10 a.m. the next day, the living room was packed. Cynthia scrolled her phone. Frank smirked with crossed legs. David waited with folded arms. Rose sat quietly worried, and Agatha presided like a queen. Mr. John entered with a leather folder. Good morning, he said calmly. You requested Chief Williams' will. David spoke quickly. Yes, we want to know our shares before everything's gone. Mr. John opened the folder. Sadly, your father hasn't written a will yet. What? Cynthia exclaimed. He continued. He planned to before falling ill and booked a meeting, but he grew too weak. Frank stood angrily. No will at all? Mr. John raised a finger. Even if there were, it can't be read while he's alive, per the law. Agatha asked, confused, now what? Mr. John looked at them. Care for your father. He's alive. Stop fighting, stop selling, stop dividing the family. Rose nodded tearfully, but Frank hissed. David rubbed his forehead, and Cynthia rolled her eyes. Upstairs in the quiet guest room, Chief Williams listened through a door crack Rose often left open. Hearing everything, he coughed softly, a sad smile forming. They've shown their true colors, he thought it a week later. The mansion remained tense and silent, everyone moving with heavy faces. Agatha, however, had other plans. That afternoon, in a fine lace gown and gold earrings, she visited her bold friend Margaret. They hugged like old friends. Agatha, I heard your husband's very ill, Margaret said in her elegant living room. What's the doctor saying? Agatha sighed. Cancer, and he might not make it. I feel like a widow already. Margaret leaned in, serious. How are you managing? Agatha crossed her arms. Managing? I'm lonely, with no one to talk to or hold me. He just coughs all day. Margaret smirked. So he can't satisfy you anymore? Agatha whispered, I've been thinking about that. Margaret laughed. You're young and beautiful, Agatha. Don't suffer for an old, sick man. Find a strong young man to meet your needs. Agatha's eyes sparkled. 2 days later, Agatha met Ben, a charming man in his early 30s, at a spa where he worked as a gym instructor. They exchanged numbers and soon met in city hotels. Ben treated her like royalty, praising her beauty, massaging her feet, and whispering sweet nothings. I don't know how I lived before you, Agatha said one evening. Ben smiled. You deserve love, sweet mama. They kissed. From then, Agatha neglected her husband, leaving his care to Rose, and filled her days with laughter, wine, makeup, and hotel visits with Ben. Agatha wanted Ben closer. One morning, she stunned the family by bringing him to the mansion. In the living room, she announced, smiling proudly, Meet Mr. Ben, my new personal driver. Cynthia turned sharply. Mom, we have a driver. Agatha waved. Yes, but Ben drives me anywhere, anytime. Frank eyed Ben skeptically. David whispered, more like her toy. Agatha ignored them, ordering the housekeeper to give Ben a room in the boys' quarters, saying, he starts today. Any issues? No one replied, but tension thickened, and upstairs, Chief Williams lay unaware of the new storm. That night, the mansion was heavy, but Rose couldn't sleep. Checking the kitchen for her mother, she noticed the living room light on. Returning to her room, she heard whispers and giggles from the boys' quarters. Curious, she approached barefoot, heart pounding. The sounds grew louder than a moan. She pushed the door open and froze. Agatha sat on Ben's lap, both half-dressed, whispering like teens. "Mom!" Rose shouted, trembling with anger and tears. Agatha jumped up. Ben grabbed his shirt. "Mom, this is a driver? This is what you do while Dad's weak." Ben stammered. "I was just—" "Get out!" Rose screamed. Ben fled, barely dressed. Agatha tried to speak, but Rose cut her off. "You abandoned Dad for this?" Agatha, panting, said, "What do you expect, Rose? I'm lonely. Your father's dying and doesn't talk to me." Rose, tearful, retorted, "He's alive. You left him for your pleasure over the man who gave you everything." Agatha pointed, "Don't tell your brothers." Rose walked away, shaking, heartbroken. The next morning, Rose sat by her father's bed, watching him sleep, tears falling. She whispered, "No one cares here. Maybe the village can help." She packed a few items and arranged with the driver to take Chief Williams to his birthplace. By evening, in the village, news of Chief Williams' arrival spread quickly. "Chief's sick. He's home." His extended family, uncles, cousins, elders, and villagers, welcomed him with fruits, palm wine, and herbs, sitting in the compound, lamenting, "He was so kind, funding my farm, building our school." They pooled money, food, and advice. An elderly woman said, "There's a powerful herbalist. His remedies surpass hospital drugs. Let's call him." Another added, "We can't lose Chief." Rose, moved, thought, so many loved Dad, yet his own family turned away. The next day, a tall herbalist with white chalk on his face arrived with a bag of roots and bottles. He entered Chief Williams' room, looked at him, and told Rose, "I need to speak with him alone." She stepped out. The herbalist leaned close. "Your eyes show strength. You're not as weak as they say." Chief Williams sighed. "I'm not sick." The herbalist started, "What?" "I don't have cancer," Williams said firmly. "It was a test to see who truly loves me when I'm helpless. Only my lawyer and doctor know." The herbalist smiled. "Wise, Chief. You saw beyond the surface." Williams closed his eyes. "Now I know." The herbalist said, "You're a man of deep wisdom, using death as a mirror for truth." Williams nodded wearily. "But it's broken me." The herbalist touched his shoulder. "You have Rose, your light. Hold her close." Outside, Rose paced, watching the herbalist bags, praying, "Please, good news." He emerged, and she rushed to him. "Is he okay?" He smiled gently. "Your father's stronger than you think." Rose's eyes brightened. "The herbs worked?" He chuckled, patting her shoulder. "Your love is his medicine." Confused, Rose nodded. "Thank you." Back in the city, Frank stormed the mansion, muttering, "The company's dying. No money, investors leaving." He burst into the living room where Agatha and Cynthia watched TV. "Mom, Cynthia, we'll lose everything if we don't act." Agatha shouted, "Act again, Frank. Stop selling. Shut down your fashion line." Cynthia smirked, "Sell your car." Frank glared, "Don't be foolish." David entered, laughing bitterly, "Sell nothing. Maybe your house." Frank snapped, "I'm trying to save the company, unlike you." David retorted, "You ruined it, wasting money since you took over. Jealous of the firstborn?" Frank taunted, "You mad?" David yelled. They lunged at each other. Cynthia screamed, "Stop, you'll destroy the house." Agatha walked out, weary of the chaos, unaware of the brewing storm in the village. Chief Williams emerged from the hut with Rose's help, no longer pretending, just weary from heartbreak. The extended family clapped. "Chief's improving. We'll keep praying." An elder told Rose, "Your father's spirit is strong. Care for him, and he'll live long." Rose smiled through tears. "Thank you." That night, Chief Williams sat under the stars, wrapped in a thick blanket, feeling the compound's peace, the scent of firewood and crickets hum, calm he hadn't known in years. He whispered, "Perhaps a new beginning." That evening, as the village sky turned orange, Chief Williams sat under a mango tree, staring at the ground. Rose brought yam porridge. "Daddy, eat. You've had nothing today." He looked up, eyes tired but peaceful. "Rose, sit. I must tell you something." She blinked. "What, Daddy?" He took her hand, sighing, "The truth, the illness, doctor's report, coughing, weakness. It was a test. I'm not sick, No cancer. Rose gasped. What? I faked it, he said slowly, to see who loves me when I can't give money or strength, who'd care or chase my wealth. Rose froze, eyes wide. You were the only one who stayed, he said, tearing up. You fed me, bathed me, brought me here for a cure. I wasn't sick, but watching. You made me proud. Rose covered her mouth, speechless. Later, Chief Williams gathered the elders and family under a tree. Standing unaided, I have a confession. They looked surprised. I was never sick, never had cancer. It was a test to see who loved me versus my wealth. They gasped. He raised his hands. Now I know. Thank you for your love, support, prayers. I'll never forget. He turned, especially Rose, who never left me. They clapped. An elder said, Chief, you've taught us much. The world's full of pretenders. You're wise. A woman added, Rose is a blessing. May God reward her. Chief Williams smiled, his first in weeks. The next day, under a bright sun, Rose helped pack his bag. He wore a fresh native outfit, walked strongly, and smiled at the villagers. As they reached the car, they shouted, Safe journey, Chief. Visit again. We love you. He waved, blowing kisses as the car rolled down the dusty road. Back in the city, the mansion's gatemen gaped as Chief Williams stepped out, strong and healthy. Rose held his bag. Let's go in, Daddy. He nodded. It's time. A shock awaited inside. Cynthia, scrolling her phone on the couch, froze when the door opened. Daddy, she ran to him. You're walking okay, not coughing. She hugged him. I thought. David, descending with headphones, stopped. What's happening? Seeing his father strong, he gasped, Daddy. Frank, holding wine, dropped the bottle, shattering it. You're fine? Chief Williams smiled at his children. Good afternoon. Agatha's voice rang from the kitchen. Who broke something? She entered, saw Williams, and clutched the wall. Darling, you're well, strong. Rose stood proudly. Welcome home, Daddy. Williams nodded and went to his master bedroom silently. The house fell silent like a graveyard. Everyone swarmed Rose. Cynthia grabbed her. How? What did you do? David added, the doctor said. Late-stage cancer. How's he standing? Frank scratched his head. A miracle. Agatha whispered, I'm dreaming. Rose stared coldly. No miracle. I gave Dad love, care, peace. Ask him your questions. She walked upstairs, leaving them stunned. That night, Chief Williams sat alone, pulling a small black CCTV camera from his drawer and 2 more from a secret box under his bed. Connecting them to a screen, he viewed clear footage of everything during his feigned illness. He took a deep breath and called, Mr. John, come tomorrow morning with all documents. It's time. Downstairs, the family sat in silence. David's head was low. Cynthia bit her nails. Frank clenched his fists. Agatha stood nervously, and Mr. John sat calmly with a folder. Chief Williams entered, strong and bold. I've told Mr. John everything. Now, the truth for you. They looked up breathless. I never had cancer, he said clearly. It was a test of love and loyalty. He paused, eyeing them. You showed your true selves. Only Rose cared for me truly. He turned to Frank, David, and Cynthia. I gave you education, luxury, everything. Yet, thinking I was dying, you divided my assets like I was gone. To Frank, you ruined my thriving company, firing loyal workers, partying with funds, selling my house and SUV. Frank hid his face. To David, you sold my hotel and land like toys. My lawyers saved them. They were your inheritance. You've lost them. Find a job elsewhere. David wept. Forgive me. To Frank, you too. Your inheritance is gone. Leave my company. Frank cried, please. Williams raised a hand. Enough. To Cynthia, you try to sell my land. You get nothing until you prove yourself with actions. She knelt, crying. To Agatha, you brought a stranger into my house, betraying me. She pleaded, darling, not your darling, he snapped. Leave within 24 hours. She wailed, but he told Mr. John, ensure she leaves peacefully. Smiling, he took Rose's hand. Mr. John, all my properties, businesses, everything goes to Rose. The children gasped. She showed true love, carrying me when I pretended helplessness. She's my sole heir and new CEO. Reinstate the fired workers. Mr. John smiled. Already underway. A year later, under Rose's leadership, the company thrived, doubling profits, opening branches, and winning awards. Loyal workers returned, calling her Madam Rose the Wise. Chief Williams watched proudly. David and Frank sought new paths. Cynthia tried to prove herself, and Agatha vanished. Rose stood tall, loved and honored, passing the test with flying colors. The end. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts below. Tell us where you're from. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for our next story.